everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to what I've been reading over the last week. I'm so happy to be here talking to you about what I have read over the last week. I've got about 6 or 7 books that I want to share, and it's going to be in 2 series. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first series that I want to talk about is a trilogy, and it is the Sweet Treats trilogy, and it is written by Charity B. And if you haven't checked out my interview with Charity B that I did this past weekend, I'll link it in the description below, or I'll put it someplace over here. You should go and check it out. It is very, very interesting and one of the best interviews that I've done. She's a fantastic author, and I want you to read all of her books because I think her books are fantastic. Okay, having said that, this series deals heavily with substance abuse as well as with abuse of a child. And there are a lot of trigger warnings because it deals with trafficking of minors. It deals with subsequent forced drug abuse, and then using substances as a coping mechanism to deal with all of the trauma that they experienced. Okay, so the first book is Candy Coated Chaos. And look, she's got like little cotton candy and pills. And so the story is about Alexander and Tavin. And so as it starts off, we're introduced to Tavin when she comes into an office building at Alexander's workplace. And Alexander owns the building because his father, they're like a media mogul family or whatever, and his dad owns the business, and so he has stepped in and is running the business. And so Tavin comes into the office and she's like sucking on a lollipop, and she's got her hair in pigtails, and she's got a very cute look about her, and Alexander notices her, and she's going into the office. She knocks inadvertently on his office door. Now, Alexander up until this point has been really a playboy. He's been a fuckboy. Like, he doesn't settle down. He has multiple women over. You know, we know that he's got a backstory. We know that he has a twin sister that he's estranged from because the twin sister had a severe substance abuse problem. And as a result of her substance abuse problem, she stole from the family. And this is something that Alexander could never forgive her for. And so as a result, he cut her out. And so he's then just gone through one girl after another, trying to deal with the dynamics of his family life. His father and mother are still together, but it's clear that his mother has a drinking problem, and she is not dealing with the father's seemingly infidelity very well. And so Alexander's just checked out. And so how he checks out is both with drinking as well as, you know, burying himself in women. And so when he meets Tavin, he's really like, who is she? He wants to know who she is. And through a series of successive events, he meets her and asks her out on a date. And it's the first girl, when he's out on a date with her, she's the first girl that has intrigued him. And he wants to know more about her and wants to, you know, learn about her and hang out more with her. Normally he's a one and done type guy. And in this situation, it's just not that. And so he takes her out on a date, but she's very odd and strange, and she doesn't recognize and understand things. And you really start to understand that she's a peculiar kind of girl. But what Alexander doesn't know, and what comes to light in this book, is that she has a long history of trafficking, and she is currently working as a sex worker. But what he doesn't know is that it is not by any choice of hers. It is being forced upon her. And so the story starts to unfold as he becomes more and more invested in her, wants to know more about her. Then he wants to know about her backstory. And she tries to keep the backstory from him because she doesn't want him to be harmed, because there's this character named Master, and then there's this other character named, there's another character that if he finds out, for sure he is going to be Logan. And if Logan finds out that she has any contact at all with Alexander, it's going to be very bad for Alexander. So she's trying to protect him, but Alexander doesn't see it like that. He sees it as her lying to him. And so the story really unfolds. Now, he sees that there is a very close relationship between Tavin and a character named Tobin. And he's like, is Tobin your brother? And she's like, no, but Tobin and I have been through everything together. And they have a very close relationship. And when he then sees Tobin and Tavin together, they're hugging, they're kissing, they're intimate, He's like, what the heck is going on? And she's like, you don't have anything to worry about. There's nothing between me and Tobin, but you don't really understand what is going on with Tobin. And so that's what's going on in this book. Secrets are, coming to light. He's becoming more invested. He's trying to understand. He wants to be with her. He doesn't understand his own emotions. And he also recognizes that she has a substance abuse problem and he needs to save her from herself. Then in Sweet Suffering, this is the heaviest book of both of them, because this really gets into the nitty gritty of who is Logan, who is Master, who is Tobin, who is Tavin, and how does this all affect Alexander, and what is he going to choose? Is he going to choose to be with her or is he not? And how does his relationship with his sister help this whole dynamic and try to help him to understand what's going on with everything? This is heavy duty. You got to check out the trigger warnings. You cannot go into this light. If you are, are easily triggered, then this book is going to be very triggering, because it deals a lot with, abuses and things that are going on and going down. Now, I would say that really this story is a duet, because this wraps up their story, Tavin and Tobin, and we see what's going on. Not Tavin and Tobin, Tavin and Alexander. We see everything that's going on, and it leaves it on in a way that we see other characters come up at the end of this particular book, where she sets up that she's going to continue to write in this world. And I did ask her about that in my interview, and she said she is going to continue to write on with certain characters in this book, which I would love to read about. So I can't wait till she does that. So it really is a duet, and so that wraps up this story. But then we get Cupcakes and Crooked Spoons. And Cupcakes and Crooked Spoons explains things that are introduced here. So we understand Tavin and Tobin have a close relationship, and we understand that there was this 5-year period that they were together nonstop. Here explains what happened and why, and the story completely unfolds. You think you know what's going on over here. You think you understand some stuff. You think that you like, I got it. I see what's happening. Okay. Over here you go, nope, had no idea, no clue whatsoever what this all meant. And as it all sort of unfolds, this one leaves you broken, but this one leaves you wrapped up, and like you wish, like you feel like this is satisfactory and this is like exactly what it was intended to be. And then over here you were like, well, shit, if I would have known this, I would have wanted this to be different. And she purposely wrote it this way and you're meant to read these two first and then this one, because if you read this first and then go to this, you're going to be torn about what you want and what you want to see happen. I have to say that this is fantastic. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. I gave it a 5 out of angst, and the spice is like through the roof, even though the spice is through the roof, even though there's some stuff in here that you're just like, oh, like it's like cringe for sure, but it's so good. But I definitely recommend you check out the trigger warnings. Like if you're easily triggered, you need to make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into this, because like I said, it's heavy substance use as a coping mechanism to deal with heavy trauma, to deal with trafficking and abuse of a minor and sexual abuse and all of those things, and then just physical abuse of a minor. Like it's heavy duty content, but these are like stories that need to be told, because this stuff, in terms of how parents that are heavily involved in substance abuse are not able to manage their children and take care of their children effectively, and as a result, stuff like this goes down. And so I just thought that, like, my hats go off to Charity B. I thought she did a fantastic job. I love how she wrote the story. I love the delicacy at which she handled it and how she approached it. You could tell that she tried to approach a really tough subject matter with care and concern, and I just think she did a fantastic job. So having said that, that's all that I have to say about that. Then the next series that I want to talk to you about, I've been hearing tons and tons and tons about it, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. And so I'm happy to say that I finally did. And that is It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker. And I'm going to say Tessa Bailey did it again. These are fantastic reads. It's about two sisters. And it's the Bellinger's sister. So this one's about Piper, and then this one is about Hannah. And so, I'm going to say that Tessa did it again. Tessa always is going to deliver a spicy book for sure. And it's going to be like, a rom-con, but it's going to be more rom than con, if that makes sense. Okay, so It Happened One Summer is about Piper. Piper lives in Los Angeles, and she is a socialite, and she is an Instagram influencer, and she has made her career based on being just out and about and seen and be seen. And so as a result of a breakup that she has, like she kind of goes off the deep end and she wants to make herself relevant again. And she decides to engage in some antics that get her arrested. When she is arrested, her parents are like, we're done. This is ridiculous. Her stepdad that has raised her whole life has said, this antic cost me some movie contracts and some deals. And as a result of that, like, I just don't have time for this. And so we're going to cut you off. And so I've maintained your father's business back in New England, his bar. I've kept it up for you. We want you to see what it's like to be on your own. And so we're going to send you off to New England for 6 months to figure out how to, you know, recognize that money doesn't grow on trees, that people have to work hard for things, and that your actions have consequences. And so this is the best way that we can think of to do that for you. And they send her off to Maine. And when she gets, her sister in solidarity says, well, I'm not going to let Piper go by himself. I'm going to come with her. And so Hannah decides she's going to go as well. And when she gets there, she meets a brooding and grumpy Brandon Taggart. And it is their relationship. And it is all about trust and loyalty and honesty and surviving at all odds and letting go of the past and trying to live for the now and moving forward into the future. And it's a fantastic read. It really is sweet. I really loved it. It wasn't like high angst and it wasn't just all over the place. It was just a really sweet romantic story that was told, you know, about two people just trying to figure it out, just really trying to figure it out. One is trying to let go of the past and the other is trying to launch and to move herself forward into the future and to be present. And so they did a great job with this. I'm going to say it's an overall 4 rating. The spice is a 3 and the angst is a 2. And then Hook, Line, and Sinker picks up right where this book leaves off. And this is about Hannah. And it's also about crab fisherman Fox Thornton. And Fox and Brendan work on the same vessel and they are friends. However, Fox, I like this book a bit better, and I liked it better because Fox is really struggling with his identity. He's struggling. His father was a playboy. Everyone always said he's such a pretty face, he's such a handsome guy, he's going to break hearts, and he lived up to that. And so he's always just been a one and done type guy until he went to college and he had a relationship with a girl that he really felt like she was the one, to ultimately find out that she betrayed him in a very difficult way. And so as a result, he said, I'm never going to give my heart to anybody. And so he's always lived up to the expectation of what everybody believed in him, which is that he is not worth settling down for and that he's always going to be a playboy. But this is really painful and hurtful for him. And so when he meets Hannah, they are friends, and it's a really sweet friends to lovers situation because they really are really good friends that evolve. And Hannah is the one who's like, I am not going to let you live up to those standards, and I know that you're worth more than this, and you don't believe it, but I believe in you, and I'm going to stand by you come hell or high water to help you get there. And so it was just a fantastic, fantastic story. I really loved how they did it, and I loved the epilogue. I loved the wrap up. It was just really sweet. So I gave this a 4. I gave it a 3 for spice, and I gave it a 2 for angst. But of the 2 books, they both were great, but I really liked this story more because I love an underdog story, and I love a hero that has an arc that has to, you know, work towards developing and being a better version of themselves, and that is what this is. So these are good. Tessa Bailey never disappoints. She always delivers. And so you guys, that is all that I have for today. I really hope that you like the recommendations. I hope that you go and check out the Charity Bee interview if you have not. And check out Charity Bee's writing. I really love her stuff. She is a great, great writer for sure. So do me a favor, hit the like button because it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and do all the other things. Subscribe to the channel. You might see that I'm doing some new and interesting things with trying to generate some traffic to the channel. We'll see how I'm working out technology, you guys. Like, I'm not the greatest with technology. I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm really just experimenting and trying stuff. So be a little bit patient with me. I really appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel so you can come and hang out with me some more. And you know, I try to upload as often as I can. Like I said, I'm experimenting with new things, and so you might see me a little bit more often. So please try to support the channel in any way that you see fit. And that's really all that I have for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.